right, let's move on to our consensus running back ranks. You guys can head over to our website, daydreamermedia.com, to get our whole draft guide with full position rankings, draft strategies, dynasty outlook, our heads in the clouds players, dreams and nightmares players. But these are going to be the Daydreamers' top 12 running backs. So let's get into it. Christian McCaffrey, number 1, Carolina Panthers. We all have CMC at number 1 overall. Ryan, you want to talk a little bit about CMC?
Yeah, so CMC is McNasty. He is everything about him is great. It's actually crazy. I know he only played 3 games last year, but he was on pace to average more points per game. In the year before when he finished number 1, he averaged 25.8, and last year he averaged 27. He was a touchdown monster last year. He had 6 touchdowns in 3 games, 5 rushing and then 1 receiving. He also had a game with 10 targets. He had no game less than having 22 touches in that game. They were using him like crazy. He is quarterback proof, offensive line proof, offensive coordinator proof. The best part about McCaffrey, if he doesn't get hurt, he does not bust. Like I'm talking about as like a whole season. He is going to be a running back 1. I'm not sure if he'll finish number 1. I have him there, and I think he's in the tier of his own. But you know for a fact he's not going to have a Zeke season when he's going to finish 10th. It's just not going to happen. Like he's going or finish 11th or 12th. He's going to be a top 6 back. You're getting good value on him. If you're the number 1 pick, it's an easy pick. It's literally just set up, spike it down.
Yeah, I agree with that. Easy pick. Number 2 on our list, Dalvin Cook from the Minnesota Vikings. Keone and Ryan both have him at 2. I got him at 3. Last year, Dalvin Cook finished running back 3 in half PPR leagues, but finished 2nd in average points per game, only behind CMC. This is Dalvin Cook's only problem. He's never played more than 14 games. Last year, he finished with the 2nd most attempts, yards, and touchdowns in the league. He's averaged 17.9 carries a game over his career. So he's touching the ball all the time. In the run game, he's also averaged 3.4 receptions a game, which is up there in the league amongst running backs. He just does it all. He does it all for the Vikings, and he is really good. You got to count on him missing about those 2 games, but that doesn't ever stop Dalvin Cook from being a top 3 running back. Yeah. Number 3 on our list, Derrick Henry from the Tennessee Titans. Ryan has him at 3, Keone has him at 4, and I have him at 5. So Keone, you split the difference. How you feel about Derrick Henry?
I mean, we all know he is King Henry, and he, when winter is coming, the whole Game of Thrones thing, but he is running back royalty in terms of just the records he's done, just he is like the thing to watch basically when it comes to like late in the season. But I think besides that, he's Derrick Henry, DH.
He is Derrick Henry, yes.
That is his name. Derrick Henry, DH. He's a designated hitter, is what he is. Yeah.
He does hit those corners hard.
Right?
He's a freight train, bro.
And that's a foreshadow for somebody later. But he'll because he's just going to go throughout the season, but it really comes in strong and delivers when they need him to. And that's late in the season. Like they set up their team where it's like, okay, for the most part, they have the passing game pretty much secure with Ryan Tannehill, really solid quarterback, where he can play well enough. And then he has A.J. Brown, and now he has Julio Jones, which is a really, really solid team in terms of wide receivers. So the only thing against him is he doesn't catch the ball, but I don't think they need to. That's the thing. So it's like he doesn't really need to catch the ball with the amount of yards he gets. But he is also like leads the league in terms of broken tackles last year with 34. and yards after the catch, which he leads by over 300 yards, with having over 1,000. He has 1,073 yards after the catch last year. And in December, he has 2,031 yards with 21 touchdowns in 21 games. That is
so
stupid.
So you're telling me he doesn't catch the ball that much, but when he does, that man is gone.
Yes,
getting his yards.
He is slick.
Yeah,
he's icy because the frozenness of him. You just slide off him or whatever. But yeah, I say he's a designated hitter because baseball ends in October, and then after that he carries it over and just does that role for the entire end of the season for the Titans. So there you go.
That's true. All right. Number 4 on our list, Alvin Kamara from the New Orleans Saints. I have him at 2. Keone has him at 3. Ryan has him at 4. Ryan, talk a little bit about AK.
Just a little preview for the next draft guide real quick. I will be moving him to 2. And that's because of basically the Saints having no receivers. He is consistent. He is great. He's a good pass catcher. I also is crazy is that last year he only had one game with less than 10 points. And that was when he got one target from Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill messed up that game. AK can do both. He actually is a great in the red zone. He gets a lot of touchdowns right there. If you look at his fantasy finishes since he's been in the league, he's finished top 3 times. And the one time he didn't, he was hurt and missed 2 games with a hurt knee, and that was 2019 where he finished 12th. This guy is a stud, and I think that he's going to be used all over the field. I think that doesn't matter if it's Taysom or Jameis, they're going to give him the ball because he's the best player on the offense. It's not even close.
Yeah, true. And he scored 6 touchdowns on Christmas. So if you guys remember last year, that man went off. And he has that ability to do that.
It's like when you see like those college games, it's just like the running back just gets 6 touchdowns. It's like, how is this even possible? And then even in the NFL, like, even more ridiculous.
It's like me on Madden.
And the thing is, he had 21 touchdowns last year in total. Like he puts in work.
Yeah, he does. All right, number 5 on our list, Ezekiel Elliott from the Dallas Cowboys. I got him at 4. Ryan and Keone, you guys both got him at 5. Keone, Ezekiel Elliott got Dak back, or he's supposed to have Dak back.
No, he will be back.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's just gotta ease into it.
Mm-hmm.
Be gentle, and then hit hard. But anyways, Ezekiel Elliott, he is my guy. If you've seen the draft guide, I talk about it, and I will reiterate some of it here. But he plays so much better with Dak is on the field. And just using last year as an example, the 5 games that he had Dak on the field with him, Zeke had over 22 touches per game and over 105 total yards per game. Whereas when Dak was not on the field, he had only just over 18 touches per game and under 80 yards total per game. So that's just a dramatic drop off in the performance you want from your starting running back, who's supposed to be and should be a top 5 running back. And I think the offense is going to be really good. Their defense is complete garbage. So I really hope they lose every game, while also doing really well in fantasy. I don't know exactly how that will work out, but I believe. And I think
lots of shootouts.
Yeah, I think Zeke and Dak. Zeke is just going to be in those press conferences at the end of games, just eating his bowl of Cheerios and just saying, I must feast.
Nom, 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 nom. All right, number 6 on our list, Saquon Barkley from the New York Giants. Keone and I both have him at 6. We all know Ryan has him at 11. We all know Saquon was taking off the pup and is back practicing, but he's not a full participant in practice. He's just doing individual drills still. So it's just something to monitor. He missed a large majority of the 2020 season after tearing his ACL and spraining his MCL in week 2. His injury risk is probably higher than most, but I'm not a guy who projects injuries on someone more than missing a few games, maybe like 2 games for a running back. I think every running back, you should just plan on missing just a few games just because of the position. His ability is also tops in the league, though. We've seen him have 1,000-yard seasons on the ground. He catches the ball out of the backfield with ease. In 2019, he was 6th in average points per game. In 2018, Saquon was 2nd. His offensive line is bad. PFF has him ranked 32nd for the 2021 season, and they will be a problem for him. But he has averaged 4.7 yards a carry in his career, and in 2018 he ran for 736 yards after contact, which led the league. So I don't think the O-line will slow him down that much. It's just going to separate him from being that 1, 2, 3 running back. He's going to be a number 6 running back, but he's still good enough to be top 12 easily. Moving on, Aaron Jones from the Green Bay Packers. Ryan has him at 6. I have him at 7, and Keone has him at 8. Ryan, tell us about Aaron Jones.
I love Aaron Jones. Like I said, I was talking about A.J. Dillon. I think A.J. Dillon takes more of the rushing work. But I think that Aaron Jones becomes very, very important to the passing game. Last 2 years, he's had 68 and 63 targets. And that was with Jamal Williams having 43 and 35. And I don't think A.J. Dillon's going to get close to that number. So you could be seeing Aaron Jones get targeted above 70 to 80 times a year or this next year, which is just great for a running back. Aaron Jones also is just super good with touchdowns. Last 2 years, he had 16 and 9. And the year before that, he had also 8 touchdowns. He's an important part of this team. They paid him good money, 12 plus million a year. He's going to be used. And if he can unlock that passing game, it will be very important for fantasy. I can see him having a top 5 type of season if he can get into that 80 target area.
Yeah. I mean, he's averaged 5.5 yards per carry in 3 of his 4 years. So,
yeah.
I mean, just a monster on the ground. And then, yeah, like you said, Jamal Williams leaving is going to, maybe he doesn't get as much work on the ground, even though he'll still get a shit ton, but he's going to get more passing work. I love it.
Yeah. Last year, he only had 200 carries. That's perfect. I could definitely see it happening maybe a little bit less the same way, but he could be the Alvin Kamara 2018 and have A.J. Dillon be a lesser version of Mark Ingram, because Mark Ingram was really pertinent to the pass game. Mark Ingram did rush for 1,000 yards and have 12 touchdowns. Like, you could see that be a 1-2 punch that could really dominate the league.
Yeah. Number 8 on our list, Jonathan Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts. Keone has him at 7, Ryan has him at 8, and I have him at 11. Jonathan Taylor is suited for the NFL and is going to have a huge career. It's like the Colts went into a Taylor and said, we need a running back, and we haven't been fitted in years.
Oh, I love
it. They got measured up, took some inches off.
Keone is so jealous right now. I'm sorry, bro. He is so jealous you thought that and you didn't think of it for the spread.
They got measured up, take some inches off here, add some rushing yards here. But, got some of the little bit of catching game there, doesn't fumble the ball. And at the end, they got back something that fits the NFL perfectly, fits the Colts offense perfectly. They're cleaned up, looking good, feeling good, and being very happy with the results. Named him Jonathan Taylor as a salute to the work done by the Taylor. I feel like we need a nickname for Jonathan Taylor. So if you guys think of one, I don't know, Mr. Fitted, he's got his suit fitted up. Think of one while I'm talking here. So Jonathan Taylor took full force into the league with 1,169 yards on 232 carries and scored 11 touchdowns, all top 10 in the NFL. He finished sixth at the position, and even with the injuries to quarterback Carson Wentz and guard Quentin Nelson, Jonathan Taylor is poised for a big year and will be a top 12 running back no matter what. I mean, without injury, he will be a top 12 running back.
His inseams are tight, and he fits tight through the inseam.
Yes. Bam! Boom. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Do we have a nickname? Mr. Fit. I came up with Mr. Fitted. That's as good as I could get.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Until otherwise proven, that I think that works.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Mr. Fitted.
All right. Number 9 on our list, Nick Chubb from the Cleveland Browns. We all have him at 9. Keone, take it away.
Yeah. So speaking of nicknames, the Chubb train is a coming. You better get off the tracks. He is like a bullet train because he is fast, and he is another guy who breaks through opponents. He has a lot of broken tackles. Last year he had 21, which was tied for 4th, and his average yards after contact are 2.7, which is tied for 6th. So he also averaged over 5 yards per carry in each of his 3 years he's played so far, with last year getting like 5.6. So that's ridiculous. That's just, people talk about getting first downs, like each, get enough to get a first down. That's then and more some. So that's just eating chunks of the field. And plus he's got Hunt to back him up as the caboose, acting as the cleanups to get the rest of the field. Kareem Hunt is the train, or you always see in like disaster movies where it's like you see the initial impact and then just like the last part of the train just sweeps everybody else. That's what Kareem Hunt is. Yeah. Where Nick Chubb is that initial impact that will just smash you in the mouth and take you down the field. And he gets a lot of points. He averages about 9 touchdowns per season, and he had 12 last year in 12 games. And so I don't know if he's going to play every single game, but I think in the games that he plays, he's a force to watch. And I think that's one of the best tandems, backfields in the league. So the Chubb train.
And he is horrible to play in Madden. My man just gave me 260 on the ground right now. I could not tackle him to save my life, bro. I got blew out that game, bro. That was crazy. I've not lost a Madden like that in a minute.
And the thing is, Kareem Hunt does not really take away from Nick Chubb, which is the great thing. Nick Chubb has a role and is the 1A in this offense, of an offense that wants to run the ball first. Mm-hmm. So, I love Nick Chubb. Gives me a Chubb. For 10 on our list, Austin Ekeler from the Los Angeles Chargers. I have him at 8. Keone and Ryan, you guys both got him at 10. Austin Ekeler is a PPR machine. This is one of the few running backs, like Ryan was talking about. Aaron Jones could get 75, 80 targets on the ground. Austin Ekeler, 100 targets, easy. We saw him do it in 2019. He was hurt a lot last year, so he didn't get there last year, but he is more than capable of getting 100 targets. He's not your typical running back, as he's never hit 600 yards on the ground, and he's only scored 3 touchdowns in a single season on the ground. That's his max right there right now. But we could see that change just a little bit with this Justin Herbert led offense, and this offensive line has very much improved. His receiving upside still gives him an edge in fantasy football. He's like a small wide receiver out there running real routes, not just check downs, although he can run the check downs, help Herbert out in that way. In 2019, we saw him finish 6th at the position, averaging 16.4 points a game. And like I said, this offensive line was real bad last year. They are much, much improved over this offseason. Got a few guys, a new center that's going to help them out a lot. His ADP being the first pick of the second round, I'd be ecstatic to have Austin Ekeler as my second pick. And if I compare him with an Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, DeAndre Swift, Tyreek Hill, or Stephon Diggs, it would be a dream come true for me.
For sure. And I think he hopefully, because he's going to be on the field more, hopefully he picked up a few tricks from the king of trash talk, Philip Rivers. But hopefully this will be like a less PG version of that. And it's just like, he jukes somebody out, and it's just like, oh, you chasing your dreams with those ankles? Not anymore. Bye. Just people just writhing on the floor. So yeah, I'm going to call him Ekeler the Heckler.
Oh,
that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, that's where that was going. He picked it up from Philip Rivers heckling people. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Make the connection.
Yeah.
Ryan shaking his head.
That's a reach right there, bro. That's a reach. But hey, I'll give it to you. To you.
Yeah. I like it. It rhymes. I like rhyming. So. Number 11 on our list, Joe Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals. I have him at 10. Ryan has him at 12, and Keone got him at 14. Keone, why you got him at 14? Or just tell us a little bit about Joe Mixon.
Well, the only thing is just because he was injured a lot last year, but hopefully that will be fixed. And forget Joe Burrow, forget Jamar Chase. The greatest offseason move in recent Bengals history is separating themselves from the vile, revolting, and just downright offensive piece of facial hair that was and is still Giovanni Bernard's mustache.
Garbage.
So thank God they have finally moved on from that. So Joe Mixon can spread his wings and have that backfield basically all to himself, minus maybe like Samaje Perine, but they're like he's going to be the number one back there, and he's going to be like play the whole season hopefully. And if he does, he is going to be really good because he's an 1100 plus back when he plays the majority of the season. It's kind of sandwiched in there where he has the season before and in the last season where, his rookie season didn't, you don't expect super great numbers. And then last season he was injured for a lot of it. But in between 1100 plus yards for each of those. And he's pretty young. So I expect him to do incredibly well if he plays. He doesn't really catch the ball that much, and they have a great wide receiver core, so I don't expect that to improve. However, because of that wide receiver core, that's going to open up the field and leave him an opportunity to rush quite a bit. So that's what I'm looking for him, is a young running back who can get a ton of yards on the ground and be the number one back for that team throughout the entire season without any other distractions, facial or otherwise, to keep him down.
I think with Giovanni Bernard being gone, that does actually give Mixon a few more looks in the passing game. I know not that much, but a few more looks. I'm also surprised that you didn't go with Giovanni Bernard as your late round running back dream. I don't know if you saw this, but being on Tampa Bay, he cut his mustache now.
Wait, what?
So it's gone.
No
I
way.
saw a picture and it was gone. So we need to maybe look into this a little more.
Is Bruce Arians not a bitch anymore for making him cut
he
it?
Still is.
Oh, okay.
No, he still is.
Don't you
it had
ever
nothing to
say
do
Bruce
with.
Arians isn't a bitch.
But yeah. So we need to look at a picture of Giovanni Bernard because he might be a late round running back dream.
All right. Well, next week I will come back and my rankings may have changed.
Okay. But yeah, Joe Mixon, great. Even with the terrible offensive line, he's going to get the job done.
Oh, they also got help on the offensive line, by the way, in the draft. So
number 12 on our list, Antonio Gibson from the Washington football team. Keone has him at 11. Ryan has him at 13, and I have him at 14. Ryan, why don't you finish us off here?
Oh, I'll pass on that. But
I literally made a face like, that's
a little sus there, bro. Okay, all right. But Antonio Gibson.
Finish off the list, bro. Finish off the list.
Okay, Antonio Gibson. I think he'll be a stud this year. The crazy thing is, the thing that was like most surprising is that he wasn't involved in the passing game like that. J.D. McKissick had 110 targets, even though Antonio Gibson came in as a receiver who was going to turn into a running back. but he said himself
Running
that,
back, turn receiver, turn running back.
Yeah. He said himself that they didn't want to give him too much at one time, but he still did get 44 targets. And the crazy is that since Fitzpatrick is a quarterback now, the 10 seasons where he played 10 plus games, he has averaged 55 targets to his lead running back. And in 3 seasons, he's got over 40 targets for 2 different running backs. I think this offense will be better. They also ran Gibson a lot, like I think over 5 or 6 games with over 13 rushing yards. Or 13 rushing attempts, which is pretty. I'm bad. Which is like pretty good because again, I thought that's more than I thought he was going to get. He was a real surprise last year, and I think that his potential, if his offense is really going, is to be a guy who can be a top 8 running back. Like that's his potential. I think he falls into this 12 to 14 range most likely, but he's also so efficient. He had I think 11 touchdowns last year.
Yeah,
and I think it was only 170. Yeah, 11 touchdowns. He only had 170 carries, which is just crazy if you think about that. Like, if he gets to 240, 230, like I'm not gonna say he might still get 11 touchdowns because that's actually probably normal efficiency. But if he could get more, like that is just intense to keep. But I like Antonio Gibson quite a lot.
Yeah, me too. All right.
I have a question for you guys.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
But I didn't want to prepare you guys. I knew I was going to ask this.
Wait,
out of this top 12 list,
can I run through the top 12 first?
Yeah.
Real quick. Number 1, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Austin Ekeler, Joe Mixon, and Antonio Gibson.
Okay, all right. I got this question, and I'll follow up. But no thinking, right? If who out of this list falls out of the top 12 most likely?
Who's most likely to fall out?
For me, Joe Mixon.
I would say
without injury. Thank you, producer Ian. Without injury.
Ooh. Yeah, I would say Joe Mixon too. Maybe Austin Ekeler because he doesn't have any rushing upside really. It is all in the passing game. And so in PPR, it's great and I love it. I'm not going to have him outside, but I could see him falling outside the top 12. But I would probably pick Joe Mixon too.
Yeah, I'm thinking either Austin Ekeler or Joe Mixon. And for all of you who may be worried about like Jonathan Taylor because of the whole, offensive lineman situation, 1, he's too high up on the list because like he'd have to fall like at least like 5 or so spots to be out of the top 12. And 2, that injury I think is looking better and better as the weeks progress. Like so their timetable is probably going to be within the first 2 weeks or so of coming back into the NFL. So that lineman is going to be there. And even if not, Jonathan Taylor still is a really dynamic back, even if the Colts are stacked. But
Keone on brand talking about a Colts player.
Yeah.
It wasn't even part of the answer.
I'll pick one person that's not going to fall
I think it's going to be Joe Mixon. Let me talk about Jonathan Taylor real quick. And then right. I have my last question is, other than CMC, who do you think could finish number 1?
Aaron Jones.
Keone?
This is me being biased because he's Ezekiel Elliott.
I also am going to say Aaron Jones.
Yeah. It's a great offense, and he scores touchdowns.
Hey, you! Check out some of these other cool videos we have, as well as subscribe and click that bell. It really helps our channel out. And don't forget to stay dreamin'.